the last week of Holy Month, as in April. And in Holy Month, we talked a lot about freeing ourselves from the bondage of limited consciousness. Not that we only talk about that during Holy Month, but it was brought up a lot because of Passover. We talked about cracking the egg of past limiting beliefs, whatever those are, and whatever part of life those are in, and empowering ourselves by allowing ourselves to transmute, as Yeshua did during the Easter story, to reveal our divine nature and to do that in such a way that even others notice it. We also talked about our future is not written in the stars. Our future is written by ourselves. We write our future, and we get to decide because we are always at choice. We are always at volition. And so we talked about then choose life, choose love, choose light, choose wisdom, choose gratitude, choose peace, choose victory in everything we think, feel, and believe and do. But I was also thinking this week that Holy Month is the perfect time for us to be in lockdown. And why is because it seems as though I don't really feel it. Maybe I'm not feeling it as much as other people, but I don't really feel it. But it at least seems as though everything has come to a complete stop in a lot of ways. And because of that, we can take note of what's going on in our lives. We're not as involved in hustle and bustle. We're not always thinking, oh, it's Friday night, I got to go to this club or that club or go out to a restaurant or the distractions aren't as prevalent. And as we wash our hands, even for 20 seconds, we can also wash our brains, wash our minds. As we social distance, we can look out. We can get the bigger picture of things. It's time, I think, to decide, who do I want to be? It's a great time to think about that. Who do I want to be from now on? What do I want to keep? What do I want to release? Now, how do we answer those questions? Those are, 3 or 4 big questions. I only said 3, but there's a 4th in there somewhere. Those are big questions. How do we answer those? First way, stay awake. This is the time to wake up, to stay awake to the insights and inspirations that start showing up when we are at quiet, when we are not distracted about hustle and bustling throughout the city. When we open ourselves to the anger, because I have talked to people, and some people are starting to feel angry if they hadn't felt that before. To be awake to that anger and to allow ourselves to feel it and speak to that anger. Why are you here? What am I getting out of you showing up, anger? Be awake to that. Be awake to all that suffer out there. There are many people who are out there who are not as fortunate as others. And fortunate as much as most of the people who I know who are watching right now. And be awake to them and do what we can as individuals to help those who aren't as fortunate, who are suffering financially, health-wise, getting around, getting things to them. And also to stay awake and be awake to spirit revealing its greatness within each and every one of us. Friday was the beginning of Ramadan. Ramadan is an Islamic holy day, appropriate in this very holy month. daily for 30 days, the Muslims are from sunrise to sundown, they are to fast. So that means no food, no water, no cigarettes, no gambling, no gossiping, no lying, no sex, no judging others. You think Lent or Yom Kippur was bad. This is 30 days. Rumi said about this time and what fasting brought on for him. He said, when the brain and the belly burn from fasting, every moment a new song rises out of the fire. See, the Muslims think of Ramadan, of this time, as a purification process. The fire in the belly is caused from the fasting. And those who have done a fast or have been forced to fast from some sort of illness or anything, you know that there's a fire in the belly that shows up at least now and again. But that they use that as a purging of the mind through this fire in the belly, a reflection time, a revelation and rededication time, a restoration of one's life to spirit. And for them, during this time, it provides a clarity that they can take throughout the year. It's like treatment. It's like spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. It's a call to rise up, you know? When you have, when you step into this affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, you are inspired by the fire in your belly to bring into, to demonstrate into, to manifest into your life a certain experience based on an idea, a goal, a dream, a passion. And this passion, this fire in the belly, causes us, inspires us, motivates us to declare and reveal our best life, our divine purpose into that spiritual mind treatment, that affirmative prayer, or into that meditation, if you do that type of meditation. Do you have a fire in your belly? Do you have a passion that you know about? Do you remember your passion or passions? You don't have to have just one. Do you have to search for it now? Maybe it's between the couch cushions somewhere. Dig in there and look for it. Maybe your passion got folded into the paperwork of a divorce. Many of us are hurt so much by those kind of situations that our passions just kind of dwindle away because they get lost. Or maybe they got left at the office before the lockdown. Or maybe they're just lost in the years that have gone by. Well, truly, it's in none of those places. Your passions are not lost, they're just kind of misplaced. And as much as you'd like to blame them on being lost to the years or whatever, they're not. They're in you. They're waiting for you to step up, to reawaken yourself to those passions, to that fire in the belly. Dr. Holmes said, there is a place within us that lies open to the infinite. That fire in the belly is stirring in you. That they call that the divine urge. I believe that was Emerson that brought in that phraseology. The divine urge shows up. It's there. It's waiting for you to open yourself up, to awaken to it, to be present, to have your heart available to it again. It doesn't just go away forever and ever. Connecting to the divine. That joy of being in communion in prayer and meditation, in any spiritual practice that you choose, that's what allows that to show up again. It happened to me in this. I've told you my ministerial story, and I'll zip through it again because many of you people, because I can see who's on, have heard this, but some of you haven't. But let me zip through this. I was invited to join this ministerial class that, of course, I eventually joined. And I was asked a couple of times, and I said no. It was like, it had been not too long since I went through the practitioner work, and that was 2 years of study and et cetera, and deep study. And I thought ministerial is going to be even deeper study for another 2 years, and I don't know how many thousands of dollars and hours, and you know, I I wasn't feeling it. Thinking about it now, it's hitting me. I was probably afraid of it. But anyway, there came a third time I was asked, and I was asked by my mentor, the teacher of the ministerial class, Dr. James Mullen, a third time, and he said, "Listen, we're 2 weeks in to the ministerial class, and it's not fair to the other class members if you don't come in like right now. So I really want you in there, and I want to ask you one more time." And I said, "Okay, give me 24 hours, and I'll give you a definitive answer." So I took that 24 hours, and the following day, in the afternoon, I went to a movie. And I was alone in the movie theater, and I saw this movie, and it had a religious theme, and et cetera, et cetera. But to get to the main point, at the end of the movie, the credits are rolling. I'm by myself. It's dark, and I find myself tearing. And I'm like, what's this? Wasn't a sad movie. It wasn't a super romantic movie, or too much of a hero kind of movie that would affect me in such a way that I would be tearing. But I was. So I sat there and said, "What's going on?" And all I heard was, "Do it." I actually heard those words, not in any supernatural, big booming Charlton Heston voice, but I heard, or Orson Welles, "Do it." I didn't hear that. I just felt that. I had that feeling of "do it." And I interpreted it as the words "do it." And so I did that. It became a fire in my belly that was awakened. And actually, as I started going through the process and the 2 years and all the beautiful people that I went through those 2 years with, that was a fire in my belly that I had awakened and unknowingly reawakened. Sonia Joquette, in a book called Soul Lessons and Soul Purpose, wrote, "You must not define yourself by experiences or conditions. For while these are tools you can use, they are not who you are. You are spirit, a fiery heavenly intelligence created by God and unlimited in nature." My friends, it's time to get sassy and succulent about our lives, about how we speak about our lives, about how we speak about our divine purpose. Succulent because, we are succulent. We're like succulent plants. All the succulent plants have a moisture in them. They are tender, they're juicy, they're tasty. Well, I wouldn't eat them, but that's one of the definitions of succulent. They are rich in moisture, which is why they don't need as much water, why they can survive in climates like in Southern California, which is desert-like climates. They are ripe with nourishment. And as a succulent person, you are ripe to give mental nourishment to yourself. Like the plants holding water, we within us hold all that is required to bring about a rich and fulfilling life, a succulent life, a luscious, yummy, rich, divine life. Now, I want to talk real quickly through how you do this. There's always a lesson here. How to take care of succulents and at the same time, you're being succulent. That succulence within. And now this is from an article from Architectural Digest. And I just want to go through a few of them real quickly and how they relate to us. How the taking care of our succulents, because I know many people have those in their garden. We have them in our garden because not only are beautiful, but they're relatively easy to take care of, and they are relevant to our environment here in Southern California. Those of you not in Southern California, of course, you can have them in your home as well. But let's get to these few ideas. Make sure your succulents get enough light and rotate succulents frequently. Succulents love direct sunlight and need about 6 hours of sun per day. But if yours are sitting in the same exact spot day after day, it's likely that not only one side is getting enough light. Succulents will lean towards the sun, so rotating them will help them stand up straight. How does that deal with us? How does that relate to us? Go outside. How long have I been telling you that? Especially in these last 6 weeks. Go outside. Bring light into your life, not just by being outside, but by bringing into your life a good music, good nourishing food. You could speak to your neighbors across the way. You don't have to be right next to them to be nourished by that community. Come here on Sundays. Listen to the New Thought Guy reads at 5 o'clock on weekdays. Read the affirmation. That is bringing light into your life. And alternate it. Do different things, different days. Turn yourself to this light this day, and this light this day, and this light this day. And bring all this goodness, all this lusciousness in you, and watch your succulents expand. And get sassy about it. Next one, water according to the season and water the soil directly. And it says, just like us, succulents need more energy when they're in a period of growth. And we all have growth periods. Do you know what that means, growth periods? Those are those periods, and sometimes you don't even get it's happening. A lot of times you get antsy, you get grumpy, and there's no cause of it that you can see physically. Maybe you have a lack of sleep. Your spiritual mind treatments and your meditations are short and feel like they're interrupted, and you just can't get into them. And something is happening. What is happening to me? And you feel this divine urge, and yet this confusion. Many times that means you're in a growth period. That means that the divine is speaking through you, and you are releasing in this reawakening, even though at the moment you may not feel you are reawakening, but in this reawakening you are purging what needs to be purged so that you can wake up and arise and be in this newest you, which is actually the truest you. Or the next step in the truest you. During the spring and summer, it says the plants are thriving and drinking up much more water than when they're resting in the fall and winter. Don't use a spray bottle to water your succulents. Misting can cause brittle roots, and moldy leaves. Overwatering can kill your succulents, so make sure you let the soil dry between waterings. Hydrate yourself. Drench yourself in this spiritual practice. Drench yourself in the light of goodness, whatever that looks like, whether it's music or what you choose to watch when you're watching television or things on the internet, what you choose to listen to, what you choose to bring into your experience, into your environment. And know that when we just sprinkle it, yeah, it may help. And of course it's going to help. But if we don't continuously sprinkle it, at which, of course, then it doesn't become a sprinkle, we find out that We're not fully in it. And when we're not fully in it, then we realize or we see our experience is not showing up, exactly how we want. That new car we bought, I don't know, all of a sudden I don't feel comfortable in it. And, there's always something wrong with it. There's always some button that doesn't work or something. That's because we sprinkled the idea of the perfect car into our lives. We didn't dedicate our knowing now that's a physical thing, but it could be more of a mental idea of a peace of mind or something like that, or bringing the greatest love of your life into your life if he or she is not there yet. That, well, it. We've all had multiple relationships. We've all finally gotten the red flag of those that weren't quite the right person for whatever reason. That's because we sprinkled the idea of the perfect mate. And when it's just a sprinkle, then we get disappointed because it gets filtered with only the sprinkling. And in that sprinkling that gets filtered, we get dismayed in our attitude of, well, this doesn't work. This spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer stuff, this law of attraction, this law of cause and effect, this law of correspondence stuff, that doesn't work. Because our attitude changed because we're sprinkling the goodness. We're sprinkling the light. We're not drenching ourselves in it. Let me move forward. Keep succulents clean and in the right soil. Succulents need soil that drains, so regular potting soil or dirt from your yard won't do. Choose cactus soil or mix potting soil with sand, pumice, or perlite. Wipe off the leaves and spines gently with a damp cloth. I think that's obvious. What is the soil we are sitting ourselves in? What is our foundation? Are we washing our hands and washing our minds at the same time? Are we moving forward? Are we putting ourselves boldly into the direct light and specific intentional light of the divine that is within us? Using that as the foundation of the power and presence that is within us and around us and waiting for us to put in our ideas so that we manifest and demonstrate those to the most optimal levels possible. And the final thing is get rid of bugs. Pests shouldn't be a problem for indoor succulents, but occasionally you may have to deal with bugs. To get rid of eggs and larvae, spray soil with 70% isopropyl alcohol. Now, I'm not encouraging you to bring alcohol into your life to encourage light. I am not encouraging you to bring anything into your life that is mind altering, to bring light and the embodiment of joy of the divine in your life. It's already there. I'm not discounting that, but you don't need it. Old beliefs and habits, they may sneak in. And if they do, then spray them down. Not with alcohol, but with the light and lusciousness and succulence of that power that is within you. That is there. Sometimes you feel like you can't grasp it, but it's there. Just wait, be patient. If you feel a sprinkling, catch it and put it into that succulence that's already in there, that sack of divinity that's living within you right now. Remember who you are is the biggest way, the biggest thing to drench into those times when you feel like you might not need it. Not that you feel like you might not need it, that you feel like you do not have it and you need it. Drench yourself in knowing who you are, remembering who you are. You, like I said before, like Agamandino wrote in the God Memorandum and in this book, you are the greatest miracle in the world. And when you are doing all of this, be sassy about it. Now, I know sassy sometimes has a negative connotation, but be audacious, be bold, be brave, be brazen, be smart. Many times, sassy people are very smart. There's in the sort of negative connotation of sassiness, which is a sarcasticness, there is an intelligence and sometimes a brilliance in that sarcasm. I'm not inviting you to bring sarcasm in your life, but I am inviting you to be bringing in the divine wisdom that sassiness brings. You know, we all will eventually emerge from this whole situation of the lockdown, the stay at home, whatever you want to call it. And we will be able to do that without wearing masks. Well, at the same time, I invite you to prepare yourself to emerge from this situation of the COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, to step out of it, to step out of this stay-at-homeness and emerge revealing the true identity of our consciousness. We all believe. I know you all know this because I say something about this every week. We all believe, but do we all know? K-N-O-W. Do we all practice? We must take our belief and take it into the know. K-N-O-W. Take your belief and place it into the know. Be sassy. Be succulent. Dig into your succulence and know that you are the God of your experience. Awaken to your power with the succulence that you have and the sassiness I know you can impart. Do so now. Join me and emerge as the greatest you. Namaste.